All right, let's get started. Hello. I'm going to go entirely based off memory because of the fact that I'm in VR chat. I wanted to be the cool model while I talk about this because I am going to be talking about Zelda in, a little rant about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So I'm going to be going entirely based off memory. I'm pretty sure I remember everything because I did watch the Direct like 4 times over. Immediately, we are jumping right into Mario Kart World, which is the new title drop. I'm so happy that it's not called like Mario Kart 9, or honestly, the one I kept seeing was Mario Kart X, which I would have liked, but I'm glad it's not. I am very happy that it's called Mario Kart World, but that's not the main point I wanted to bring. The game looks amazing. The resolution, the characters, the cars, the stuff you can do in the do on the game now. It's like there's like water parts now. You can like grind on rails. There's like wall jumping and shit now, and oh my god, the game looks so good. And then we have its Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, and Free Roam. Yes, if you didn't watch the Direct, this new Mario Kart game is going to have Free Roam. This is the first ever open world Mario Kart game. So for Grand Prix, it's basically the exact same. There's nothing really that different. It's just, you go into Grand Prix, you have the four tracks that you go, you're racing people. The twist is, instead of it being, I think, the normal 12, there's now 24 players. But yeah, it's just the normal 4 tracks. But then they have Knockout Tour, which kind of ties into a little bit of like the open world aspect of Mario Kart. The way that it works is you're basically going across the world and you're continuously racing, and then you're going through all of these different checkpoints. If you are not the person that passes the checkpoint in time, then you get knocked out. So you're kicked out of you're kicked out of the race. You can't do it anymore. The other 8 players and stuff, they can continue. So that looks really fun. And then there is the Free Roam. Free Roam looks really good. I don't personally know how it's going to be. Obviously, I haven't played it or anything, but based off what it looked really cool. It looked pretty interesting. I feel like there could be secrets and stuff that you can find, because it's not just free roaming the tracks or whatever. You can free roam the tracks, but you can also go off-roading and explore like the outside world of like what you normally can't do in the tracks. So it does look really, really good. And the fact that they're also allowing like friends and stuff like that to join you in this free roam experience, and it just looks amazing. The fact that you can play as the cow is wild. The cow from Moo Moo Meadows, you can play as that now, is wild. There's a bunch of new characters they showed off. I'm not going to go through all of them, because they didn't really like show them off. It was more of just like while they were racing, you kind of saw them, but because they really did focused on the fact you could play as that cow now. Enough of Mario Kart. Let's get into everything else. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is Nintendo Discord. It's not really. So on the right Joy-Con, there is now a new button that's a C. If you press that button, it will open up a menu where you and your friends or people that are a part of your family membership, I'm guessing, can join in a voice call, and you can talk while you play games. And then they also have like a screen sharing feature, so you can share the screen that for the game that you're playing. From what they showed off, it did look really laggy, but it's Nintendo. What can you really expect? But it still looks really cool. They're also adding a webcam now for this feature. Honestly, it's pretty cool. I like the fact that you can actually like see people now. And it's just overall, it's a really cool experience. Now the camera does go into more features, but I will talk about that when we get to it. Okay. Now, I want to be happy about this. I want to be like ecstatic and like just be like, oh my god, I want to. I do have some criticism though. So now we're going to be talking about the system itself. So, The magnetic Joy-Cons, the fact that the Joy-Cons, can have like a mouse mode. I'm also going to be talking about that in a little bit too. They have like a mouse mode, and then they also have the new dock. The dock has like a fan on it to make your system cool. The Nintendo Switch 2 now natively on handheld mode is 1080p, 120 FPS, and not for all games, but it is 1080p 60 FPS with HDR, so it makes the games look really pretty. And in docked mode, it is 120 FPS 4K. Yes, the Nintendo Switch now natively supports 4K, which is mind-boggling to me. The fact that we've gotten this far with Nintendo to finally have 4K with their systems. Like, for example, they showed off. But yeah, the console itself honestly is really cool. But because I'm on console specs, I am going to talk about something I am actually really upset about. This is where the criticism comes from. The UI, because they did show it off. They didn't show it off during the Direct, but they showed it on the website. I'm really disappointed, Nintendo. It is the exact same. There's no difference. Literally the only difference is the fact that there is now a new button, I think, on the main menu, and everything looks like the corners of it look rounded. Other than that, the UI is the exact same. There's no differences. We don't even know if we're getting themes. Like, pretty much everything is the exact same from the Switch 1. So, honestly, it's very disappointing that happened. But I also want to get into the price. So, I'm not exactly sure on the price because I kept seeing a bunch of numbers float around, but the one I kept seeing the most of was $450, which kind of scares me a little bit. And I can understand why they're doing $450 because I'm pretty sure the Switch was $300. They obviously are raising the price, and I'm pretty sure that it is going to be $450. So $450, I feel like I'd be okay with if apparently the games are going to be $80, and then they're going to be $90 physical. So digital, you get $10 off pretty much every game. So every game is going to be $80. I'm pretty sure. But if you were to go to like GameStop or Best Buy or whatever to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 game, it's going to be $90 because it's in a physical form. I'm sorry, but I am very, very disappointed in that. I understand that the video game industry right now is starting to up their prices. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure GTA 6 is supposed to be like $90 to upwards of $100 for the game, which is a little understandable. I can understand that a little bit. But just for like Mario Kart 9, and I'm not saying that Mario Kart doesn't deserve to be that high, but apparently this is supposed to be like almost all of their games they're releasing is going to be $80 or $90 if you're getting it physical. I don't know, Nintendo. I just don't know how to feel about it. I'm disappointed, but at the same time, video game industries are kind of doing that themselves as well. Like, I'm pretty sure PlayStation is starting to go that route. Xbox, I think, is starting to go that route too, where they're just kind of upping the prices of all the games. But I don't know. And then I also want to talk about the fact that they did show off the new game carts, like the actual carts, and apparently the carts look the exact same. The only difference is they're red and they read faster. So they do pump out a little bit better than the original carts, so they do run quicker. But apparently as well, based off of what they showed for the game carts don't actually have the entire game. Like, from what I saw, from people posting on like Twitter or like all over the place, was the game carts have most of the game, but then they have to download the rest of the game basically digitally. So that the game isn't even necessarily fully in a physical form. I don't understand why. They never did this before, so I don't see why now all of a sudden they can't put all of the game on one card. But one good thing they decided to do was they are getting rid of the old micro SD card system, and they're now doing Express micro SD, which is really good because that means there's faster loading times when it comes to having games on the SD card, and that's just an overall win, honestly. It's having express SD cards for the Switch is really good. I don't know. Overall, this console, just because of this direct, it's looking really scary. Like, it really feels like there's a good chance that the Switch 2 might just be another Wii U type of situation, which is really terrifying. But from here on out, I'm going to be talking about other things that the Switch 2 can do, and I'm also going to be talking about the games. So let's move on. Okay, let's get into the games. So the games that they showed off, I'm not going to go in order. I'm going to just go based off of what I remember and basically stuff like that. So they showed off, obviously, Mario Kart 9 as soon as it started. They showed off a bunch of third parties. That was the big downside I had with this Switch Direct. They showed no first party games. It was basically all third party this Direct. Now, at the same time, it is kind of cool that they decided to do that. Why? Is because they're showing off how powerful the Switch 2 can be. I am just still a little disappointed of the fact that, they didn't show more first parties. But they showed off Mario Kart 9. They showed a bunch of third parties. They showed off Elden Ring. They showed off Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade. They showed off Deltarune chapters 1 through 4, because on the release date of the Switch, that is also going to be the release date of Deltarune chapter 3 and 4. They showed off Hollow Knight Silksong, which I was really surprised about. I did not expect them to do that at all. We're getting Hitman 007. We're getting Yakuza. We're getting Street Fighter 6. We're getting I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's Bravely something. It's also made by Square Enix. Oh, we're also getting that Split Fiction game. We're getting a lot of really pretty good third-party games. The biggest one, that, honestly, in my opinion, that they showed off, because everyone was like, "Oh, this is the game to show if if consoles are actually really good or not," is they showed off Cyberpunk. Now, they actually showed off gameplay running on the Switch. It wasn't gameplay from something else. I'm pretty sure the gameplay they showed off was from the Switch, and it ran really smooth. The game looked really nice. It looked really pretty, which more than likely means that this Switch 2 is going to be as powerful as a Steam Deck, which is very, very promising. And then the other games for first party, that, because I can't really remember the rest of the third parties, is I'm going to count this as a first party, even though I guess it might be considered a third party. They showed off a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive Souls-like game. I cannot remember the name of it right now. I'll just show it up on screen. But that game is a co-op Souls game exclusively on the Switch. The fact that From Software has this much excitement for the Switch to make an exclusive Souls-like game on the Switch actually gives me hope. Just because of that, I really do feel like there is a good chance the Switch 2 might actually be good, for sure. And from everything they showed off, I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I do think that it is going to be good. Moving past the FromSoft game, they also showed off Kirby Air Riders. I have been waiting so long. I am 20 years old, and they showed off Kirby Air Ride, which they're calling it Kirby Air Riders. The last game to release, which was Kirby Air Ride, is as old as I am. It is 20 years old. So the fact that I played it a couple times, and I loved the game. I just never owned it, so I wasn't able to play it that much. But the game was awesome. And the fact that I was so wrong. Honestly, I thought Sakurai was going to make a new Kid Icarus game, because he was talking about the fact he was making a new title. I honestly thought that it was going to be Kid Icarus, because I always saw him as the big top, nerd. I love Kid Icarus guy. I guess I was wrong, because I know he loves Kirby too. I honestly thought it was going to be Kid Icarus, but it is not. It is Kirby Air Riders, which I am really excited about. And then they showed off Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yes, they did not show off a new Mario for this game. They're actually giving Donkey Kong the spotlight for this. I will be honest. I never really played the Donkey Kong games. I like platformers. I just never got around to them. But this new game actually looks really, really good. Like, the Switch 2 games just look amazing. Like, they did a phenomenal job on the graphics, the resolution. I already talked about that, but it's just like they did a really good job. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks really, really good. They showed off Kirby Air Riders, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Mario Kart 9, and then the Souls game. That's it. That was all first parties. There's one game I didn't bring up that is considered first party, but I'm going to talk about that at the very end because it is Zelda related. But now I want to be talking about something else that has something to do with games. So they showed off in the Direct 3 different ways you can play games. They showed off the Nintendo Switch 2 games. Obviously, it's for the Nintendo Switch 2. They showed off cross compatibility, like some Nintendo Switch 1 games being able to be put into the Nintendo Switch 2. Why they did this is for the next thing they decided to add, which was they are adding Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades to past games. They showed off the first one they showed off was Super Mario Party Jamboree. The thing that they're doing with these upgrades is actually pretty cool. Not all of the games are getting this treatment, but some of them are. Super Mario Party Jamboree, when you upgrade to the Switch 2 version of it, it is coming with, I think it's called Jamboree TV, and it's a whole new game mode. It uses pretty much all of the new functions. It uses the camera, it uses the microphone, it uses the mouse mode. It basically uses all of the new functions for the Switch, which is really cool. It does give off Connected Ventures for the Xbox 360 to me, because they did show off like a whole part in it where it's them using the webcam and like hitting a block, and yeah, but it does definitely give off like kind of Connected Ventures to me, but nonetheless, it looks really cool. And then they also showed off Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. I am separating this from what I was going to talk about for Zelda stuff, just because it makes sense to be put here. So Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I'm actually going to not talk about my feelings about them, because that could be a whole separate video if I wanted to. But they look phenomenal. One of the things I liked so much was the Lost Woods and Breath of the Wild on the just in the original was really, really laggy. Like the frame dropped really bad. Like graphics started like crippling down. Like the Lost Woods was really bad, and they showed it off in this Nintendo Switch 2 edition running perfect. The resolution, the graphics with HDR, and everything just looks phenomenal. The games look really, really good. And then they also showed off Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I never played it, but with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, if you upgrade to the Switch 2 version, it comes with like basically a little mini DLC where that continues with it and everything. Then they also showed off Metroid Prime 4, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and then they also showed off Pokemon ZA Nintendo Switch 2 edition. And they honestly, that's the only way to play that game. I'm gonna be honest. If you are a big suckler for graphics and stuff like that, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition version of Pokemon ZA is the only way to play it, because the Nintendo Switch 1 version, the graphics are so bad. Like all of the buildings look all like 8-bit, like not like 8-bit, but you can like see pixels. It's really bad. Other than that, I mean, all of the Nintendo Switch 2 editions, yeah, from what they showed off, is really cool. Like I think they're going to be doing a really good job for that. They did say that they are showing off more titles later on, but right now they only showed off the couple. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition versions of the games looked like a pretty cool idea. There's one thing I actually forgot to mention when it came to the specs and the stuff that the Switch 2 can do. They are bringing back DS download play. If you don't remember, back on the DS, if you had one game and someone didn't have that game, you can basically just put the game in yours, and someone can basically download play that game onto theirs, and you guys can play together. That is what the Switch 2 is doing now. They are now letting one person play it. So if you're playing like a party game, like for example, if like Uno, before you couldn't do that with just holding having the two Joy-Cons, because when it came to that person's turn, you could see their cards. So, but now that's not an issue because everyone can play on their own consoles using only one game, which is a great idea. It's really good for them to do that. One of the other things as well, I don't understand why they didn't do it. So they didn't show pre-order dates. Back in 2017, when they did the first Switch, they showed the release date, they showed how much it is, and they showed the pre-order dates. They only showed the release date. They didn't even tell you the price of the console, and they didn't actually tell you the pre-order dates. Everything for that kind of stuff, you have to go to their website for, which I don't understand why they did it that way. I don't know if it was maybe because of time or something, but they could have just, been like, here's the release date, here's pre-order dates, like have like the release date, pre-order dates pretty much right next to each other, and then have the like those dates disappear, and then the price for how much it is in the middle or something. But they didn't do that. Honestly, I thought we were getting other colorways too, so I thought we were getting gray and then white and then like other colors or something, but we didn't. The only thing they showed off was the fact that we're getting the Switch 2 gray version, and then we're getting another one that's the exact same console. It just comes with a digital version of Mario Kart World. Okay, now onto the Zelda stuff. I'm going to be completely honest. There is a couple things I missed, but they were honestly kind of small things. It was like the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild now has an app that's basically like a GPS where it can tell you like, oh, here's some Korok seeds you're missing and you're kind of near them. Here's how you can, just head north. It's literally a GPS to tell you where things are. And then like Tears of the Kingdom, you can like, people can like share their builds and you can copy and paste them over so you can use the builds that other people have made. But that's about it. Okay, but when it comes to Zelda stuff, there was one thing I didn't bring up, and that was the GameCube. So this might be copium completely, but Wind Waker. They showed off Wind Waker, and you probably guessed it, they are doing a Nintendo GameCube like Switch Online expansion, like they have done with the NES, the SNES, the not the GameCube, but the Nintendo 64. They're doing that now. They're doing one with GameCube. Now, what I meant by copium, they showed off Wind Waker in it, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, that debunked the fact that, we're not getting a Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD remake. We're just getting Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on the Nintendo Switch Online membership expansion thing." But that's technically, like I said, it could be copium, but I don't think that's true. And the only reason why I don't think it's true is because when they were showing off the GameCube expansion, they showed off Super Mario Sunshine. We've already gotten Super Mario Sunshine through 3D All-Stars, and they're basically giving it to us for free now. And if I could recall too, I'm pretty sure Super Mario 64 is also on the Nintendo 64 expansion. So there could still be a big chance that we are getting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess as HD remakes or something. Another thing I wanted to bring up as well is the Ocarina of Time remake. They did not show off an Ocarina of Time remake. They didn't actually show off anything pretty much Zelda related this entire thing, besides one, which I will get to in a second, but we didn't get an Ocarina of Time remake, which kind of sucks. I wish we kind of got to see something, but we didn't. Honestly, I think they're doing it next year for the 40th anniversary, which makes complete sense in my opinion, to be honest. We didn't get it. Honestly, in my opinion, I think it's okay. Now, to get to the one thing that devastated me this direct. And that's Hyrule Warriors. We don't need another one. I'm sorry, they should have stopped Hyrule Warriors back at the first one. Age of Calamity should have never existed. This new one should not exist either. I think it's called Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. And it's basically Age of Calamity, but it's Tears of the Kingdom instead. Where Breath of the Wild was like, here's what took place, before the story of Breath of the Wild. And then in the other one, it's here's what took place before Tears of the Kingdom. We don't need another one. I'm going to show off right now how many Dynasty Warrior games there are. You see how many there are? That's way too many. Zelda should not be a part of it. I'm okay with them. I was okay with them doing the 1. But them doing 3? Technically 4 if you count the one on the 3DS? No. That's way too many. They're just doing too much. And another thing that's also annoying to me is they are dragging Breath of the Wild. They're just dragging it. Like they're like picking it up and just dragging it through the Nintendo headquarters or something, because we should not have this much Breath of the Wild at all. It's just too much. We need something new. The only thing new we got that was Zelda related was Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom. That was it. Everything else has been Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom related. We don't need it. It's just too much. I get that it might be like a cool little side story or whatever, or like, I understand that some people like them. But there's so many Dynasty Warrior games that we don't need it to be part of the Zelda franchise. Like at all. Like for example, one of the games I was really excited for was Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. And me and some friends were actually able to get into the beta or the alpha or whatever it was. And honestly, I think a lot of people were able to, because I think you just signed up and you immediately got basically accepted and you were able to play it. The reason I didn't like that game, like I liked it in the very beginning, but then I realized it reminded me so much of Dynasty Warriors. It's just the same repetitive game loop. Like with the Zelda games, they have something going for them. Like there's multiple stuff, you get new items, blah, 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 With Dynasty Warrior games, it's pick a character, you have their items, you do the same combo and attack over and over again, and you beat the game. It's boring. We don't need more Dynasty Warrior games. There's too many. I believe that Dynasty Warrior should stay away from the Zelda franchise. I don't think we need more. So when Age of Imprisonment showed up, I was devastated because I wanted a new Zelda game, or maybe Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD remakes, or, not really remakes, but remasters or something, or an Ocarina of Time remake or something. But they didn't show any of that. Instead, they decided to do another Hyrule Warriors. I don't know. It was devastating. Now to go into my overall thoughts of this Nintendo Switch Direct. I'm be honest, I'm giving this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct probably a 7. Maybe 8. After rewatching it a couple times, I feel like I'm giving it probably an 8. The reason why, I understand they showed off a bunch of the third parties to show off the performance of what the Switch can do. Great. Awesome. I really love the fact they did that, because it's showing off how powerful the Switch 2 can be. I was just really disappointed at the fact, I'm just honestly disappointed at Nintendo for the fact of them not showing more first parties. I wanted more. We didn't get 4 directs beforehand, and then we got the Switch 1 Direct, and then we got the Switch 2 Direct, and the Switch 2 Direct only had like 4 mainline Nintendo games. Everything else was third party. So that, I'm gonna be honest, did upset me a little bit. It just kind of sucked. I won't be honest. I won't be honest. I will be honest. But other than that, I mean, the fact that we're getting like a Nintendo Discord, the fact that we're getting like 4K, 120 FPS, We're getting like HDR, so games look super pretty. We're getting Nintendo Switch 2 edition versions of games where they just look super pretty, run better, like everything. Like, honestly, I'm really excited for all of that. I'm really, really excited for Mario Kart World, though, because that game just looks phenomenal. That game looks so good. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. I pretty much went over everything that I can remember off the top of my head. Obviously, I didn't go over every third party because I don't want to do that personally. But I mean, one of the games I didn't talk about that was pretty cool they showed off is they're adding Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's pretty cool. I mean, I used to play the crap out of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the Nintendo 64. So it's cool that we're getting, all of these third-party games and everything, but I'm just hoping that maybe Nintendo will do like little mini direct or something, or they'll do another direct and it'll be nothing but first parties, and then maybe like a couple third parties thrown in. Like, I'm okay with that. I need more first parties. That was my genuine thoughts, honestly. I honestly thought that the direct was really good. I did. I liked the fact that we got pretty much all these games on launch. Like, there was obviously some that are not showing up during launch, and so on and so forth. But other than that, I mean, we're getting a lot of games on launch. I am also really excited for Metroid Prime 4, just because I was only able to play, I think, Metroid Prime 3 or 2, and I never got far. So I'll probably have to, at some point in time, try to see if I can play through those games, just because I never got the chance to. But hopefully we get some Zelda news or something that isn't another Dynasty Warriors game. But thank you for watching. If you decided to watch all of this and watch me rant about a bunch of stuff and watch me coolly change into different links while I was talking about the Zelda games or whatever, but I'm gonna make a video solely based on Zelda because I am just a huge fan of Zelda. I have been for years. That's why I also wanted to take, as you can see, I wanted to take this video on the moon from Majora's Mask. That's also why I'm wearing the Majora's Mask avatar this entire time. I'm just a huge fan of Zelda. So if you guys would be interested in seeing an entire video just solely based on Zelda, let me know. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.